Hey everyone, and so what we're going to do today is have a look at where the Airbnb journey all started for me. This is the very first property that I put on Airbnb, so we're going to take a look inside. I'm going to show you what we did. I'm going to show you the refurb, the mistakes I made, because I did make a few mistakes on this one, and also I'll tell you how the deal was set up as well. So let's take a dive inside and we'll go from there. So all of our properties we try and get on there just a simple, lockbox. You can use smart locks and you can use other things. Some work and some are great, don't get me wrong, but Good Masters lockbox is as simple as anything. So come on in. This is a one bed flat, which we have put together. It didn't look like this, let's put it this way. So what I did was I got a lease option on this. Now the vendor was struggling to sell it. She'd had a tenant in here, and the tenant had trashed the place. She didn't have the money to do it up, and I met her. We had a conversation, and I've got this on a 5-year lease option. So I will purchase it, and I took over the mortgage, and then we take over the responsibility of it all. And in another couple of years' time, that lease option will be up, and then we'll buy the building. But for now, that's why I spent the money refurbing it. So we'll get some lights on in here, and we can kind of show you. The main bit that we did was the kitchen and the flooring, and obviously the decoration of everything. But we had quite a few. So in here was the bathroom, and as you can see, this was kind of, whilst it looks really nice in here, this was mistake number one, was I spent too much on it. I spent too much on the bathroom. I probably kitted it more out like something that I would want if I was living in it, as opposed to what it needs to be for the Airbnb style operation. So we then, the flooring and the carpet was needed. That really was needed, so we had to do that. And then obviously we went and kitted the whole lounge out, TVs and everything. And it was a lesson learned, but we have actually generated a really good profit from this over the years, because it's right next to the RVI hospital. So during COVID, this was a very busy property for us. A lot of nurses getting shipped up to the RVI to help out, so they were needing long-term accommodation. Sofa beds in all the properties to maximise that bed space and make sure that we've got the occupancy. And then obviously, smart TVs and everything that goes in it. So this is where it all began for me. Originally, I had planned to get this rented out just as an AST tenancy, so I thought I could make about 300-400 quid on top of what I was paying on the lease option to what I could rent it out. But I couldn't get it rented, so I couldn't get it rented. I struggled to get it rented, and so I was having a coffee with a friend, and he mentioned that he was running a few properties of his on Airbnb. Obviously, I investigated what Airbnb was. I'd heard of it, didn't really understand how it worked. I thought it was a room sharing type thing where you rent a room out in your house. And lo and behold, he was telling me the numbers, and they sound very appealing. I couldn't get this rented. I had about 7 or 8 people look at it. I was at a loss with it, because I'd kitted it out. It was nice. It's a great location. I just couldn't figure it out. So I went and bought all this furniture. This furniture here still remains, and obviously we've got the stuff in the bedroom here as well, which is all the original stuff that we did put in, to get it ready for Airbnb. I basically went to IKEA, put all this together, and spent overnight in here building it all up. And then so took some photographs of it, put it on Airbnb. At that time, I didn't know how to do anything with Airbnb. I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to clean it, how I was going to dress the linen, or anything. So you don't always have to know everything to get started, and that's the main thing. So put it on Airbnb and got £3,500 worth of bookings within the first 5 days of having it listed, and that was me hooked. I was hooked on this whole Airbnb thing, and then the journey, kicked off from there. I then tested another property that worked, and so on and so forth. So that's where the journey began, right here in this building. And call it fate, call it whatever, that I had that coffee that day, and I then went to IKEA and took the risk and went into it. But so far, obviously, it's paid off quite nicely for me, and I'm going to take you over to what is my biggest project very soon. So we're going to have a look over there. So I'm going to show you how it's gone from this to our development that's ongoing over there, and we're going to have a look into that as well and show you what's possible. So if you are liking the content, please hit the like button. and don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell notification so that you get alerts every time that we run a new video. So let's pack up here, and we're going to head back over to the other side of the city, and I'm going to show you this development that we've got going on, to show you the progress of where we've come in less than 3 years from this one bed flat all the way up to this, you know, £1 million development that we've got going on. So as we're driving over to the development, I'm just obviously showing you the where the journey kind of started, and this is where we're at now. So, you know, it seems to be a natural progression that, you know, you start small, obviously, and you get your confidence up and try a few units, and then you'll move into, you know, more creative strategies, rent to rent, lease options, and because they're quick cash flowing strategies, you know, you push them harder, and they you know, they bring in more cash flow a lot quicker. So, you know, that's what I did. I wanted the quicker stuff. I'm very impatient as a person, so I want to move quick. The frustrating side of these developments for me is, you know, whilst the long-term gains there, you know, this is like 18 months away before we're going to see any cash flow from it. So, you know, you've got to dump a load of cash into it. Don't get me wrong, you know, there's going to be, you know, a real uplift in the equity of the building, and it'll perform incredibly well once it's set up, but it's like 18 months time before we see any of those benefits. So so in between, I think as your journey goes on, you need several strategies all mixed in at the same time over different time frames. So we continue to do rent to rent. You know, I continue to push that. Obviously, we've got the managed side of the SA business now, which, you know, does really well, and, you know, we're all over the UK with that now, and obviously in Dubai. So, you know, we have expanded that. I've got the confidence to be able to go overseas, and you know, I'm quite happy to look at other countries as well. You know, because the process works. So, and then in between that, I've got, you know, BRR type stuff, which is just little, you know, single let residential homes, you know, anywhere from 1 beds up to maybe 5 beds, possibly doing loft conversions, side extensions, things like that, which you can do under permitted development. So they're much quicker projects, uplifting the value or buying them below market value, and again run them as serviced accommodation. Huge tax advantages on that in terms of, you know, your capital allowances, and if you're investing outside of a limited company, you can avoid section 24. There's other videos on the channel which explain all that sort of stuff, but you know, this is a progression, and the famous words that, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day is true, and you've got to kind of have different strings to your bow. So as we're going through this development, naturally I still want to keep moving, and I want to be able to continue to acquire quick assets for cash flow, i.e. rent to rent lease options. I want to be able to continue to add to my asset portfolio, my net wealth, which is the smaller developments that don't need planning permission, and we can get them rattled off in a few months. And then onto the bigger stuff, you know, I'd like to have at least one of these, if not more, in the pipeline every year, so that we can continually move from one to another. And we're also at the minute on the hunt for you know, commercial to residential opportunities, shops with potential, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 flats upstairs where we can convert them quite easily, and we're not having to wait for loads of planning. So a good mix. But, you know, listen, I knew none of this a few years ago, like absolutely nothing. So get yourself educated. I continually educate myself. I continue to tie up with people. I continue to get mentored by the right people, and just make sure that, you know, we're doing things in the right way. Because, you know, something like this that I'm about to show you, if I get this wrong, like, that could be the end. You know, there's a lot of money at stake on this one, so you've got to be confident that you're going to get it right. So I don't know everything, you know, I don't claim to be perfect, but I do know people who do know stuff, and I'm willing to pay for that advice. And, you know, that is you know, I think a good friend once said that, you know, or constantly says, you know, if you think the cost of if good advice is expensive, then you should try the cost of bad advice, you know, and that is just one of the best statements I've ever heard, and it's so true. So don't try and wing these type of things, even if you're at the smaller stage and you're at the beginning with rent to rent, lease options. Don't try and wing it. Get the right advice, get the right help, make sure you're getting on the right foot, because if you do it right, quite quickly you can end up you know, doing £1 million developments, you know, and it's just a very quick journey if you do it right. But one bad move and it can cost you dearly. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made mistakes. There's been mistakes in the past, and they fortunately haven't been too costly. I'm talking about maybe spending a bit too much on a refurb, potentially renting a property £100 a month too much. Still making profit out of it, just not what I'd like to. So but these major mistakes, like a mistake on this, could cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, and as I said, it could end things quite quickly, or it could put you in a very sticky situation. So we're nearly there. We'll take a look inside in a sec. I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on where we're going, what the journey's been like, and what to look out for along the way. So here we are at the development. I'm going to take you inside here. I'm going to explain what we're going to do with the building. We are going to run this as serviced accommodation. That's how this opportunity is presenting itself. This has been on the market for more than 4 years because a lot of AST investors can't make these numbers work because of just the area and where it's at. But having the confidence with the short-term rental game has given me the vision to be able to turn this into what I think will be a mini hotel as such, and should create great cash flow for us and be an awesome project once it's finished. So let's take a look inside and go from there. So as you can see, this place is in a bit of a state. It's got a lot. It's a full strip out. We're just going to demolish pretty much the inside, keep the structure. With the structural surveys come back and it's absolutely spot on, which is great. But effectively, we're going to create 4 floors. I'm going to take you upstairs now and show you the sort of size of the footprint, and then each floor is going to be exactly the same. And on that, the idea is planning submitted for 16 2-bed apartments across 4 floors. So we will actually be putting an extra floor in here. Right now it's only 3 floors. So as you can see, this gives you an idea of the footprint that we're working with, and each one of these will be effectively the same size, 4 different floors going up to the roof, and out that we're hoping to get 16 2-bed flats out of it, which will run every single one on short-term rental. The location that we're in right now, we've got the quayside just down there, literally walking distance. We've got great access to metros, bus links, and airports 15 minutes up the road. You've got 2 main motorways, so it ticks all the boxes. I think we get this in a really nice standard and really make it work. So, in no time at all has the journey gone from, as you can see, a 1-bed flat to, a sort of 4-story, 16 flat story development. And now we'll continue to look for more and more developments as we've got that confidence, and as this great game of short-term rentals just continues to give. And it is very much just once you get the confidence, you just want to do more and more and more of it. And as you build your network and your relationships with people, and it becomes a real powerful game, and you start to get a lot of things thrown at you. So, one of the biggest things I've done is I've got myself out there, whether that be on social media, documenting my journey, whether it be speaking with estate agents and creating the relationships. People know what I do as a business, and they know what I want. I continue to harvest those relationships and make it as valuable as possible for me and for them, So they're constantly ringing the phone. We've got this for you. Do you want to have a look at this? Do you want to, you know, maybe take this on? And you're constantly getting deals brought to you. So at the beginning, where you've got to kind of get out there a lot and you've got to hunt for your own deals and you've got to build those relationships, once you get the snowball going, you will end up getting deals thrown at you all the time. You know, my phone goes at least 3 or 4 times a day where, you know, people offering me stuff. Do you want to come and have a look at this? We've just had this come on the books. And it makes life a lot easier, don't get me wrong. But to get there, you've got to start out with a lot of prospecting and a lot of viewings. I think I calculated I've been on over 1,000 viewings in the last 3 years, or just under the last 3 years. That's a lot of viewings per week, and I haven't really been doing that many in the last 6 months. So, you know, it's really important. It shows you the numbers that you've got to achieve. And I speak to a lot of investors, you know, property investors wanting to get started, entrepreneurs, and they're constantly telling me they're only going on a couple of viewings a week. You know, if you want to scale up mass and you want to get to where you want to get to quicker, you need to be getting on 15 to 25 viewings a week. Now that sounds a lot, but that's what you've got to do, you know. So really important that you get going. And we're going to keep you updated with the progress of this. So this is where we're at. We're still waiting for the plans to come through. We've got the building. You know, we're going to rip it out soon. You know, the demolition is going to start soon. So, you know, we'll keep you updated. And, you know, 18 months from now, worst case scenario, hopefully 12 months, we'll have a finished project and we'll start to show you the inside of it. And then we'll start welcoming our guests. So really looking forward to it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have an awesome day.